Aaron Johnson Fitness.
That's right.
In the building.
That's right.
What's up, bro?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you're one of our what can I say entrepreneurs. One of the many entrepreneurs that we met at our last location that we had, which was Landmark Fitness Club, and I'm trying to remember if you can recall my memory or just how did we meet? How did we come across each other?
I think I was introduced to Landmark Fitness through Usman,
Okay,
tall
yeah.
guy. Um, and I was in between gyms. I was working at the rec centers. The rec centers was kicking me out because I was bringing too many clients in. I met Usman. He brought me to the gym, and you guys were already there, I think. Yep.
Yeah,
And so we just kicked it out right
yeah.
then. You know what I'm saying? Y'all was doing the strength. I mean, y'all were doing the basketball training. I was doing the strength training. So it was
Yeah, I
just good.
remember Aaron just popped up one day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I do to a lot of people. I just pull up on.
Just pop up.
Yep.
Yeah, but when you popped up, man, the biggest thing I noticed was your spirit. You know, you had a really exuberant spirit, good attitude. You know, you were ready to get after it. And, you know, we always were trying to figure out ways that we could work together. You know, seeing what you were doing, you saw what we were doing, and automatically we were just figuring out how to partner together. So
Right.
I'm glad, man, we was able to link up.
Me too. Me too. And I think that spirit comes from me being in my purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this whole journey for me has been just a diligent, purposeful, intentional journey of walking each step.
Mm-hmm.
And each step of the way, I'm meeting people like you that are in your purpose and doing what you do. And it's just exciting to see people doing what they love to do every day and working with people like that. So
I love that, man.
yeah.
And we're big on purpose, right? And so I want you to talk about how did you discover that purpose? Was it always there? Or talk about your background and how that purpose became a reality for you.
So like if you had asked me that question, say 5 years ago, I probably had a different answer. Over the last, say 5 years, since COVID, I've been able to go back home, Shreveport, Louisiana, and just get back to my roots. And so what I've noticed that I come from a strong background, strong, people that they just work hard, they believe in what they believe in, and you can't change their minds from what they believe in. And so I was kind of around that spirit all my life. My mother, she was in church. My grandmother, they always raised us in church to believe in higher powers. And so I think that part of that was just believing in God, believing that I was coming in contact with people that were God sent and just serving them and being willing to, humble myself and listen. And so playing sports since the age of 8 in Shreveport, playing high school football, basketball, getting a scholarship to Grambling. At my size, I was like 5'6", 165 pounds. There was really no archetype or architect for.
What position were you playing?
In high school, I played quarterback, punt
Okay.
return. I've been playing quarterback since youth league, and so by the time I was in high school, it was like I was looking at what was going on around me, and it was either I'm gonna stay here all my life or I need to figure out a way to get out.
Mm-hmm.
And so sports was that way out. And so football, even though I was a short quarterback, I just put my mind to it, worked hard, dedicated myself. The coaches didn't have to tell me to work out. You know what I'm saying? So I was just always working out without the coach telling me to do. So my performance was a lot better a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really know that then. I just figured I just was working hard, playing hard, seeing the result, and then eventually I got a scholarship. And so getting a scholarship, going to Grambling, again, I was around a champion pedigree. Coach Doug Williams was our coach, and Coach Eddie Robinson was his coach. Coach Eddie Robinson is the most
Winningest coach.
yeah, in college football. So again, at the time, you really didn't know that, but over the last few years, I've been able to go back home, go back to Grambling, and see how they were purposefully putting things into us to make us champions. And so I carry that. We won championships. I have 2 SWAC championships, a Black National College championship, and so we've seen winning. We've been around winning. Historically Black college winning. And so it was nothing new. And then I got hurt. And so once I got hurt playing football, it was like either you're going back to Shreveport or you got to find another hustle. You got to find another way to make it. So school was there. I could read, I could write. I just wasn't really dedicated to it. Like most athletes, a lot of athletes just playing football, going to school, and whatever happens.
No.
And then I get hurt, tore my ACL. I was starting, tore my ACL my freshman year, and then everything just like, okay, you 5'5", 180 pounds. You just tore your ACL. What's really your future gonna look like? So I started taking my school serious, graduated, got some favors from my professors. They put me in graduate school for kinesiology, and it's just been a whirlwind, a journey, like you said, of just purposeful intention, and I'll just be meeting wonderful people.
Man, that's beautiful, man, and that's a boatload. You know what I mean, of information, and it shows. Again, like you said, the stock that you come from and that foundation that was laid and that was being poured into you, and in that time, in that season, you didn't even realize what it was for.
Yep.
Right. So being in that winning system and those winning systems helped you be a winner today. So I see you in your business and how you're a self-starter, how you're self-motivated. So by you saying you didn't have to be told what to do as an athlete, I believe it, because I see that right now. I see that discipline. I see that, that directness about you. And it's why you're successful in doing what you're doing today.
Yep. And so I tried. So throughout the journey, it was just like, if you work hard on the football field, you might as well work hard in the classroom. And so working hard in the classroom opened up other opportunities in sports and in exercise and in fitness. And so once I was able to lock in on another opportunity inside sports, it was like, I don't have to play. I could be a psychologist. Yeah. I could be a sports therapist. I could be a trainer, a sports physician. So that's where the direction was, and that's what we met, and that's what I've been doing since I graduated in graduate school. I was 23 at the time, I think 2007, 2008, something like that. And I've been just building my kids and youth fitness program this whole time, and just making sure that it was right, making sure that it was sound in principle, sound in discipline. It was championship style programs.
Okay, so talk about that. Like, talk about the philosophy in which you present to your students.
So then once I got hurt, I go to grad school. I'm in kinesiology, and in kinesiology, well, when we in sports, a lot of times we teach repetition. Keep doing it. Go harder, go harder, go harder. But then when I got into kinesiology, they taught about the mind of the athlete, and how first it was how to, and because I was hurt, I had to figure out how to repair myself, because I was hurt physically, but I was also hurt mentally. And so the kinesiology helped me see that this happens to a lot of athletes. You get hurt, and then you go through some rehab, but you never go through the mental rehab. And so,
because your identity is in the sport, and if you're not playing, then you feel like
you have
no purpose.
And not only that, but like say for instance, like I said, I tore my ACL.
You're scared that you're going to get injured again.
Your
Your mind is always thinking about it, and you're not playing
at full speed,
or the same level that you're playing at before. That's the mental aspect of it.
Right, and that's where the lack of self-confidence came in. So it was showing me how to build my own self, because I was I was a 5-star athlete. In my mind, I was a 5-star athlete. And so you can't go out there and play basketball. It's like, man, your self-confidence, even though you're not playing, when I get out there on a pickup game, I want to be able to, but your knee won't.
Yeah. Your mind wants to do it, but your body won't.
Yeah. So after I was working with myself to help heal my own mind, and then I was like, I wonder how many other athletes go through this. You know what I'm saying? They go through an injury, they hurt, then you end up out of sports, and then you got to go back to work on a 9 to 5. You didn't graduate, so you might got to work for $7 an hour, $8 an hour. You know what I'm saying?
Sacrifice.
Man, so I was like, bro, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to do that at all. So I dedicated myself to the school, and then I eventually realized that whatever we did to retrain my body, my mind after the injury, then that was what we needed to do before the injury. We were supposed to strengthen the mind before the injury, and then once you strengthen the mind before the injury, then you don't have to strengthen the mind as much after the injury, because you have a automatic pilot, your brain is on autopilot as to your self-confidence. So that's really what my program is about. It's not really about the sport. It's really about building the self-confidence of the kids. And then once you do that, then they can do anything.
Right. So what are the things, if you can share kind of what are some pointers and how to build yourself up on the front end of it?
So a lot of it is your imagery. What you see, the images that you see on a daily basis, whether it's the pictures on your wall, whether it's the coaches, the images that you see from your coaches, whether it's the videos that you look at, the imagery that you see helps to better give you a representation of who you are. Another thing is self-talking, being how you talk to yourself, not only in the game, but outside of the game. And so right now I'm dealing with a lot of kids through my kids fitness program that they don't believe in themselves. The first thing that comes to their mind when you ask them to do something is, I cannot do it. See what I'm saying? So if that's your repetitive thought to yourself,
you're right.
And your body, your muscle is going to, and you normally don't see that result until crunch time, until the pressure is on, until there's some immediate need for the result. So when I go to camp or when I go to practice, like I go to your practices, I look to see at how the kids can handle pressure. I don't care how athletic they are. I can make them more athletic, but trying to get them to develop a like or a comfortability with pressure, with pain, with failure, those things that come naturally, then that's what I'm trying to see. Because if a kid makes a mistake and then they go, he might be done for the rest of the game.
Man, so I mean, but do you think like the systems that these kids go through kind of force them to think that way? Like you think about the education system, how pass or fail, or it's everything's based upon good or bad. Like so you're groomed in these systems to know this or that. Like, so how do you feel like that causes them to think that way?
Yeah.
Like causes them to measure them. There's always a metric system, right? Versus just the metric of yourself and just evolving at your own pace. That's an idea. I think that we like to tell ourselves that, but in reality, if you don't know this by this time, you're not moving forward. So It's not about self-pace. It's about you have a metric system that you have to be able to meet. If you don't, then you fail. If you do, you move on. So do you think that causes them to think that way and carry that mentality into all aspects of life?
Yes. So after I graduated with my kinesiology, it showed me techniques and things that I could do to enhance self-confidence.
Yes, sir.
So I started teaching school. I went in school. I was teaching reading at an alternative school. And these are kids that had been kicked out of their regular school because of disciplinary problems, because of academics. They had failed the test over and over. So I started to implement these self-talk, because the kids start talking bad to each other. They doing this. And I just started implementing these different strategies inside this reading program, and all the kids passed the test to go on to the next grade. So it's not a thing of the measurement is not the problem, because that's what the game is all about. The score is a measurement. You know what I'm saying? It's a measurement of confidence. The team that wins has more confidence than the team that does not win. You don't have to measure it. You can just, this is sports psychology.
Yes, sir.
And so you go to different measurements in the classrooms. You can go to different measurements in PE, and you can see that we don't have a progressive mentality towards the mindset. We just, you either get it or you don't get it.
Yeah,
And that's failure for 80% of us. And so, or 90% of us as Black athletes. And so so that's why I started my own program. I started my own fitness program with my own design, with my own products, because I saw what the PE teachers were doing. I saw what the coaches were doing, especially in football. It's totally abusive. It's totally irresponsible how they talk to these guys, how they train these guys. And then you seeing it right now with Lamar Jackson. I'm gonna give you an example. All right. And we can just stop there. But they're not catering to the guys in their development. They're just saying either you get it or you don't get it. And even when you do get it and you exceed their expectations, they go, we can find somebody else.
They'll still find and you jump to the NFL. Shoot, we can go college, high school. I mean, we can go all the way down. Like the whole, we want to develop you. We want to build you up. Like, I mean, I love Deion. He just said it the other day. He said it with his team. He's like, we're not looking. I don't have time to build.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have time to build. Like they want you ready made.
Especially at that age, because after 13, you cannot teach self-confidence. Self-confidence is, you have to teach these, what we're talking about, before puberty. Once these kids
So
become,
when you're saying, is there a difference between teaching and developing? So when you say teach self-confidence,
Mhm.
because you said you can't, after 13, you can't teach self-confidence, but can self-confidence be developed after 13?
So what I'm saying is that we're talking about the physiology of the body, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And your behaviors, your thought processes from 0 to 13. You've done them over and over. You said, I can't, over and over. So by the time you get 13, if you try to teach a kid, I can,
The damage has already been done.
they be like, it's gonna take them longer to program.
Mm-hmm.
So you're trying to program them before 13.
Yeah, I guess I do see that, because you can definitely tell the difference between like athletes that have played since the womb. Like, man, they're confident. It's natural. They don't have to think about it. If you think about most of, now I say 95% of cats in the league, you'll have those exceptions.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, man, I've been playing. I had a ball in the crib. Like and so it was second nature. It was never a thought of whether I was going to do this or not.
Exactly.
Right? You rarely find that kid that was 13 that was like, I was doing this or I was doing that, and I decided to pick up the ball as a teenager, and I was able to excel at a fast rate. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a rarity.
Now add that to anything.
Yeah, that makes
reading, math, self-confidence,
language learning.
Mm-hmm. And so that's what I was like. All right, let me design, because like I said, I played football. I was coached, and I've been competing since 8. So by the time I got to 18. I was with the boys out there. A lot of them boys had just picked up football in high school.
Yeah.
I'm out there, been quarterback since so I knew how to read defenses. I just knew how to do so much.
Yeah.
So it was just, I used that. And so now I see that at the athletes. That's why I work with the kids, because if you can get them in the right behaviors, 7, 8, 9, 10, by the time they 13, they ready to take control of that. They ready to, if you teach them strength training, by the time they get 13, they like, man.
I mean, they should be able to go and take themselves through a workout.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Versus,
you would think so,
right?
Because nowadays, gonna do it.
I feel like you gotta have that nowadays.
Right.
If you don't have that self motor, you're gonna get lost in the sauce.
Yeah,
you ain't gonna be able to keep up.
Yeah. And so that's what. So I started to just see that in the schools, see that with the sports. And I just like, you know what? Instead of me going into football or going into basketball and trying to change the culture, it'd just be better that I just start a new program and then implement the right programming, self-confidence, discipline, focus, and let these kids know that once you do this here, it's helping you outside here. Because
plug it in.
Yeah, because so I went into the gym. I moved to Dallas in 2010. I went to the gym. I started training in the gym. You see cats in the gym doing it wrong. They've been doing it wrong all their life.
And nobody said anything.
So then I go up to them and be like, hey, man, let me show you. And they're like, I don't need to. I don't need to. And then you find somebody that's never worked out in their life. And you go, they're like, I need some help. And you show them, you take them through a stretch, you take them through proper breathing, you take them through blood flow. And then they go, okay. Instead of the first workout, drop down and give me 25. Drop down to give me 50. And you busting them out the frame. Yeah. And then they don't come back for the next time. And then you talk about they weak. They not weak.
Yeah. So I'm glad that's a good conversation. So, because you think about it, if you get a kid, right, or get a young adult or whatever it is, and you take them through basics, do you think that's enough? Like, is stimulating enough to make them want to come back? Yeah. You know how it is, man. Everything now it's about what's hot. It's about what's fast. It's about what's entertaining and exciting. Like, everybody wants to a rush, right? So if you take them through something that is slow, methodical, it's good for them, it's beneficial, but it's not stimulating their mind. Do you think that's enough for them to want to come back? Or they're like, man, that was boring. Or, man, I already knew all that stuff he was telling me. Or, you know what I mean? So that, how do you balance that part out?
Because, okay, so a couple things what you mentioned is that, one, everybody wants that fast, right?
Mhm.
But you give me an athlete for 6 to 8 weeks, and I will out train. He will out train. He will be in better shape, going slow, methodical, and doing it right.
Mhm.
That's why I can take a 50-year-old that's never worked out before in their life,
Mhm.
and slowly. If I take them, if I overload, that's what it's overtraining, overloading. You're
Okay.
overloading their systems.
And they're not ready for
And
it.
then that's what's going to make them quit. That's why 80% of the people don't go back into the gym. As soon as they get into it for a trainer go, give me a burpee. Give me a this and that. And do it.
Yeah.
And they can't even bend over and touch their toes.
Yeah.
They having trouble getting out the car.
Hmm.
They trying to pick up their feet.
And the expectation is in the bar is so high on day one.
Yes.
That they're not ready to meet that.
Yes. And that's the difference between an amateur and an expert. A professional is that I'm going to practice the basics every day. We don't get too big for the basics.
Yeah, you don't skip steps. Yeah.
Oh, I've been training all my life. I still warm up. I still stretch. I still do breathing exercise. And that way I still keep those systems intact. So now we're talking about the health of the person. So we talk about mostly. So when I work with y'all, I work with athletes, but my programs are for non-athletic kids. I work with 50 nonprofit organizations with non-athletic kids.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of workouts with non-athletic kids. I work with y'all with the athletic kids because I wanted to work with y'all. I have some teams that I go work out with, but they got to be trying to go for a championship in order for me to come in and bring what I'm bringing.
It's got to be purposeful.
I got world champion athletes. When they parents saw what I was doing, they said, "We know you know what you're doing. Our kid is trying to go for the world championship. Sign them up." And we didn't work on their stroke. We worked on their self-confidence. Because when you get into a room with 50 world champions,
everybody's a GOAT. So how you gonna be set apart?
How do you work on their?
Yes. So you said two. You said the first one was imagery. The second one was self-talk.
Yeah.
What was the third?
It's so many, but one of the ones I use mostly is probably just self-awareness. Just becoming more aware of yourself,
knowing who you are, right?
Yeah, and having the conversation. So when we do a push-up, so kids, when I'm in your training sessions, the kids be like, "Man, I don't want to do 10 push-ups." I say, "But you want to score 10 points?" Like, what? 10 push-ups is a lot? Yeah. Well, you're gonna have a problem scoring 10 points.
That's good, man. That's a good way to connect it.
Yeah, they go. I say, yeah, 10 push-ups is too many. 10 points. You're gonna have a hard time doing 10 points. And they go, and so once you go, because a lot of times the kids, they're manipulating the adults.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
They
always want to find a back door.
And so if I know that, and I train for that, so that's why I make it easy for you. If you quit on this when it's easy, what you gonna do when it's hard?
So maybe that's why, like you talked about, when people come in day one, the trainer tries to go and push to maybe see and test them to see if they're ready and see if they're committed.
Yeah.
So do you think that is maybe the psychology behind, I'm going to make you hit the wall, I'm going to try to make you quit? You always hear it, day one, we're trying to make you quit. We're trying to separate the champions from the weak. We're trying to weed out the weak and get rid of the people that don't want to be here because it's my time, it's my energy, and I don't want to invest in somebody who's not trying to go. So do you feel like that is the mentality of why people try to push you hard that first day versus take it slow? Because we can take it slow and we know you're going to be comfortable and you're going to stick through the process. But we know life isn't like that. Life is rigorous. Anything can happen. So we got to make sure that you're ready to withstand anything that happens along the way.
Yeah, but that's an abusive mindset and they're not ready. You can get 10 athletes. One of them might be ready to do that. And then you got 10 other athletes.
Yeah.
We got to develop them.
That's true. So you're going to weed them out, but you ain't going to have enough to go play the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're going to have one star, and he's going to be on the team with a bunch of scrubs. And then he's going to be like, "Man, I don't want to be on the team with scrubs. I want to find some more stars."
Find some more stars, yeah. Which is what you really see, though, in the reality. You know what I mean?
And that's why you got the A team, the B team, the C team.
Right.
Man, it's so bad. That's why I don't deal with that because it's too many variables. This kid ain't happy. They go over here. And at the end of the day, we supposed to use sports to help build these kids' self.
That's it.
We got less than 1% of these kids going pro. What are we doing?
That's it, man.
We building character. We building mindset. We building young men that are going to be able to go through this rigor that you talk about outside of sports. Because it's going to be hard outside of sports. Now, let's take your example. We're going to weed through the ones. We're going to go through. Let's try that with girls. Let's take the same approach with women.
Hold that thought. We're going to take a brief commercial break, but hold that thought. Man, I've been seeing these fire shorts sitting around Kingdom, Coach Rod. Tell us about them.
Well, you know, it's January and in Dallas, Texas. It's not shorts weather right now, but ballers, for basketball players, it's always short season.
Always. So we got the black and white, the split joints right there. Some of my personal favorite, got the camo with the yellow hit in the front, Kingdom across the front. Love these. And y'all love the flavor. So tie-dye joints, tie-dyes back in, it's heavy. Get you a pair of Kingdom shorts available now at the facility. Okay, so you were talking about what if we push, you know, our female athletes that same way and the effects that it can have on them. So what's your take on that?
No, I was talking about like as men in this culture of weed out the weaklings, and we got to push you till you break. But if we took that approach in our dating life with women,
oh, you were even talking about sports. You're talking about,
I was talking about taking that same thought
mentality, same thought process, okay,
and then taking that to dating.
Okay, I like that. But check this out. We all know the dating and the honeymoon phase. That's a small amount of time,
right?
And that doesn't represent the entirety of the relationship. Exactly. We know that relationships are built on the hard times. When you see a couple that sits down, they don't spend a lot of time, when we first met and all this and that, or we were doing it. They always reference the tough times. I remember when we had nothing. I remember when I had to sacrifice. I remember when. So that's when you know that person's there to stay. Right. Anybody can rock with you if you whining and dining them and doing all this and every day, but you want somebody that's going to ride with you through thick and thin. You want a player on your team that's going to ride with you and be committed through the process when things aren't always that glamorous. Right. I don't want people that's on my team that's only cool if I'm giving them sneakers and giving them gear. Right? That's easy. But when I'm not giving you that, when we in here running for 2 hours, are you going to stick it out? Right. Those are people I want to go to war with. I want to go to war with a woman who's willing to ride it out, ride or die, not just ride and fly. You know what I'm saying? When you up in the PJ, like that's not reality. You know what I'm saying?
Now, do you find that out in the first workouts or the first months, or does it take you a slow and steady?
I guess it depends. I guess it all depends. I mean, you can definitely see signs. Right, you can definitely see signs early on. Maybe it's not going to tell you the full story, but I think you can see certain aspects that make you be like, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if she built like that. I don't know if he built like that. I think you can see it early on.
And that's when I go into your training camps. And the reason why I like y'all programming so much is because y'all take kids that never played basketball before and turn them into stars. They go from here. Now, what if y'all say, man, we don't want them. We just want the kids.
But the thing is, but we want them, right? But we don't hold back from pushing them. And Rock can tell you, he mainly works with the kids that haven't played. He works with the little kids. So it's not like he's babying them and, coddling them. No. We want to see if you're committed, and kids crying and kids, they want to quit. But when they get through those 2 hours and we bring them into the conference room, that's when we can paint the picture. That's when we can say, hey, you got through it. You didn't quit. It's going to get better. This is your hardest session. And we're able to walk them through that. We just wanted to see how much you were going to be able to take.
Right.
We ain't having them bench press. I mean, we're having them do something that they could probably do, but it's going to challenge them.
Yeah.
Am I right? Am I right with that, Rock?
Yeah.
But you can see.
So I think that as coaches and trainers, it's natural. You're naturally attracted to the gifted athlete, right?
Exactly.
And when you have a group of athletes, you're going to have from the exceptional all the way to the beginner. And so from a standpoint of development, you want to focus on the one that's lagging behind, because that's the one that's these are the ones that are gonna need to be developed, showing that extra attention, acknowledged that, okay, you didn't, I call it, you let the drill beat you. You didn't you didn't do your 10 push-ups, proper push-ups this time, but next time. And like Keith said, you're going through the whole session, pushing them and challenging them and seeing who rises above, see who's lagging behind, so you can get an assessment for the next time that you work out. But when you bring them all together, it's about explaining what you did, why you did it, and that they all made it.
Right.
And so that's the key, just in one session of developing athletes of all different levels, is explaining to them the why, as Keith would always say.
Now, when you was an athlete, when I was an athlete, when you were an athlete, our coaches pushed us.
Oh yeah, from the parking lot.
Right.
The second you got the car, it was like,
and we all can agree that these kids are not like that no more.
Oh, it's a different breed.
Right.
Yeah.
So if we were to take the approach that our coaches took with us,
and let me, I think, what I've come to realize also, it's about the parents also, or what's being done at home.
Yes.
Back when we were young, we were pushed and challenged by the coaches, but also our parents, meaning chores.
Yeah, like my father was the toughest coach I've ever had.
Right, mine too. And so,
you know what I'm saying, in life.
But even at home, we had to do chores. We had to work. We had to do something, right? Fast forward to today, kids don't have chores. They're not cutting the grass. You'd be lucky to find a kid
that can take the trash out. Yeah, everybody got maintenance people and gardeners and all that.
So to me, it starts at home, and then when you bring them to a facility, a training facility, and they're getting yelled at and they're getting pushed and challenged, it's breaking down. They've never experienced something like this before.
Right.
So it really starts at home. So when we talk about kids today, I really think that it's, if they're being challenged and pushed at home, then they're going to be able to receive it a lot better when it happens to them when they're training.
Right.
I agree.
Point. Now, all right. So we agree that the parents aren't the same as well.
Correct.
All right. So again, I work with the non-athletic kids. Right?
But I'm gonna say why the parents aren't the same, because what you just said before, the way we were done. So we say either is if you were done a certain way, you're gonna either imitate how you were done, or you're gonna do the polar opposite.
Right.
Oh, I had to do chores. I had to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I had to do this. I'm never going to make my kids do that.
Right.
I'm never going to make my athletes do that. Or you're going to be like, bro, I did this. I'm going to make y'all do that and then some.
That's what we at.
Right? Yeah.
So, all right. So in the communities, I work a lot with the Boys and Girls Clubs, Louisiana, Texas, Georgia. And typically we get underserved kids in our programs working with the Boys and Girls Clubs. And a lot of times those kids are lacking just self-confidence in life, just life, okay? And then sometimes we get to meet the parents, and they're not trainers, they're not coaches. Some of them maybe, but they're not teachers. They're not, and so over the last few years, just working with those clubs, I was just focused on the kid. Let me tell the kids let me say I can do it. Just repeat that over and over and over.
I can or I can't.
I can do it. Okay. And so then a few months ago, I was leaving the gym, and a parent was picking up her kid, and the parent goes, "Get your stupid ass in the car." And I was like, I just finished telling him I can do it. His mom picked him up before the door could slam to the Boys and Girls Club. she was berating them, belittling them, and the reality of what you just said is that parents are talking to the kids a certain kind of way.
Mhm.
So if I tell them to believe in themselves for 8 weeks, 6 weeks, yeah, we're gonna see a little bit difference, but we gotta start attacking the
It's at
parents.
home.
Yeah.
It starts at home.
So my program, instead of just going to, so now this year, 2023, I started to develop my own program outside of your club, outside of the Boys and Girls Club. I'm gonna do my own programming, and now we get to teach the parents how to do positive self-talk, how to use imagery, how to set goals. The parents don't have goals for the kids. They brave and y'all have to have goals for the kids.
That's true.
And then you sit down with the kid and be like, we're gonna get a scholarship. Then the parent go, boy, you can't get no scholarship. How you doing it? And so we gotta be able to we gotta be able to touch the parent through my program. The sports programs is almost, y'all are getting a certain level of confidence already versus a non-athletic kid, a kid that does not even like to exercise.
Yeah.
So y'all are getting certain kinds, but the ones that we get, the ones that we work with, they really are in a tough situations. We work with some kids that were homeless, that were fatherless, parentless. They've seen their parents get murdered. We've done so many with nonprofit organizations, and so when we talk about the self-confidence, there's a large scale of what we're talking about versus when you're an athlete and you out there.
Yeah.
That's kind of the fun part.
Mhm.
That's kind of the fun self-confidence. That's kind of the extracurricular versus these kids who have been abused, who have been molested, who have been no parents in the house,
That's
this,
true.
that, and the third. They need self-confidence. And so that was, so at the end of the day, you guys are doing the best jobs that you can do with the kids and that are athletes, and they're getting coaching. They're getting life coaching, they're getting skills coaching, they're getting sport coaching. They're getting hard work pays off. They're before 13, they're getting this seed planted in their head. But the ones outside of that, the 97%,
Yeah.
they ain't getting no mental coaching.
And that's what goes back to what you said, that last point you made about, that self-awareness.
Yes.
And being able to attach that. Because sometimes I feel like us as humans, we have to belong to something. Like we crave to be attached to something. We want to belong to a group or a craft. And that craft, that artistry allows us to gain confidence.
Exactly.
So whether I'm a musician, whether I'm a painter, whether I'm a sculptor or athlete, I'm actually producing something that is feeding me confidence.
Exactly.
Like if I go out there and make a nice move, that move has now restored my confidence. If I paint a canvas that's powerful and I get a bunch of compliments, even sell a piece, that's building my confidence. So you're talking about, you're reaching kids that aren't expressing anything. They're walking around life in need of something, wanting to be a part of something, but they haven't tapped into that. How do we kind of not just avoid those kids, because those kids can easily fall through the cracks.
So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to target those kids, the non-athletic kids. The athletic kids have enough trainers. There's enough competition. There's enough. You're building their self-confidence. Of course, we can do more, but with the non-athletic kids, they need that purpose. They need that that sportsmanship, that camaraderie. And so that's a lot what happens in my program. So in a classroom, you get a classroom of 30 kids, and over a 12-month period, you might have kids in there in the 30 that don't know each other's name. They've been in class all year long and they still don't, they never. So we make it a point to teach team cohesion. That's part of the philosophy, is teaching how a fist is stronger than your hand slap. And so a team, so anytime you look at teams, you look at families, businesses, partnerships, you have to look at the cohesiveness of the team. And so we try to build that through communication, through partnerships, through teamwork inside of the fitness camps. So a lot of guys, like I said, a lot of times these kids have never played sports, so they've never been a part of teamwork. They don't even know what teamwork is. They have no idea.
Yeah.
So after 8 weeks of you on her team, you're on his team, and y'all didn't know each other. Y'all didn't like each other. Matter of fact, y'all had a fight earlier today.
Yeah.
Now y'all on the same team. I don't want to be on that team. I don't like her. As a matter of fact, y'all gonna be on the team.
Yeah.
And so, and then in the competition, they win. The two people that didn't like each other,
Right.
they win. Now they hug.
Now they build a bond. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so it's purposeful that I'm working with the non-athletic kids because, again, we got to start teaching the larger population the things that we teach our athletes: hard work, discipline, focus, teamwork, how to overcome obstacles, how to how to be a better person, how to be a better person. So we teach that to our athletes. We got to start to teach that over to the regular non-athletic kids, and I think that we'll be able to see a big difference in terms of when you look at grades, when you look at behaviors, when we look at the scores of the kids academically. Mm-hmm. It has a lot to do with the lack of self-confidence and the lack of cohesion that they feel in the community, at their school, in their classrooms, with their teachers. And so we just teaching that, and it's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome, man. So talk about, your products, your book, the Skate Buds, and kind of how you develop that and, how it ties into your program.
Yes. So the Skate Buds are for my 7 to 13-year-old program. And over the years, we've worked with, like I said, over 50 nonprofit organizations, youth organizations, and we've been able to, it was a lot of research because I wanted to, like I said, make a program that was accurate and that would help more than the 3% of the athletic kids. I wanted a program that could benefit that 97% of kids who aren't part of anything. And so, so we make it fun, we make it exciting. Skate Buds, they light up. They adjust to fit. They strap on to any athletic shoe, and we're just developing that product. And then,
with the Skate Bud program, is it? Let's say you have 20 or 30 kids. Mm-hmm. How are you implementing the Skate Buds in that program? I mean, they're putting them on, and then what are they doing?
So it's a 60-minute program. We do a 15-minute warm up, which is which entails the dynamic stretches, warming up the body, breathing, proper movements. Because again, these kids have never played sports, so we have to teach them how to move their body before we put them on some skates.
Yeah, that's a jump.
Yes, this is an advanced level activity. Yes. Right. So we do that for 15 minutes. Then we do a core session for 15 minutes. And then the aerobic exercise or the cardiovascular exercise is where the Skate Buds come in. Each student starts off with one skate on the right leg, one skate on the left leg, and we do laps around and we develop the strength in the right leg. We develop the strength in the left leg, the balance and the confidence. Because a lot of times we put these on the kid. You might have one kid out of 30 that can just put them on and go. And then the other kids will go either, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do that too. He can do it. I can do it. Give me two. I'm like, no, just take one. And so, like you said, they want it fast and quick, but if we give it to them fast and quick, they're gonna hurt themselves.
Yeah, right.
And so we've had over the years, I think over 13 years, we've had maybe 2 injuries in our camps that were substantial in regards to having some type of cast or accident like that. But over the 100,000s of kids that we work with, it's been a lot of success. The Boys and Girls Club measured our program in October of 2001. We had 140 kids. The kids were preparing for the National Fitness Assessment Test. And prior to this, the kids were passing that test at a 20 to 30% rate.
Wow.
Over the country, 7 to 13.
You said in 2001?
2021.
Okay, 2021.
Yeah, 2021, October 2021. They measured the program. And after, say, a 6-week program, the kids passed the test from 70 to 90% from 5 years to 15 years old. So we saw a lot of progress with that. That's the data that we can report. We're going to do a lot more reporting of that data over the next few months and few years. We're taking that data and taking it to the school systems, taking it to the parks and recreation centers so they can, because they don't do anything without data. So we have data now. We've been trying to get the data here in Dallas for 10 years, but for whatever reason, we couldn't crack that code. I went out to Atlanta, knocked on one door, and they said, we'll give you the data. We'll let you come work with our kids. we're trying to pass this test.
Mm.
And they passed the test, and the kids, as I just talked to the
So
kids,
when you say pass the test, they pass like a state test or
a national fitness assessment.
okay.
So here it's called the fitness gram.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, you know the fitness
Mhm.
gram. And as you know, the third graders in Texas are failing that test at an 80% rate. And over the country, it's the same. And so that's part of what we're talking about, how we can make the change in society and have more kids become athletic because we took the time to like them, to know them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They feel connected.
They know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that brought them back. And so, you know, retention is part of the score. How many workouts do the kids participate over a 6 or 8 week period? And if the program is not quality, or if it's not up to a certain speed for the kids, they'll quit after the first week.
And so if they're not attracted to it.
Yes. And so our programs, we had the majority of the kids, I'm saying like 70 to 90% participate in either 5 to 6 workouts out of a 6-week workout week program. And so we've had a lot of success over the years. That's why I keep doing it, because the kids like it and they want to do it. Yeah. So it's been hard to get the adults to kind of latch on, but they finna latch on here soon.
So when you implement it, when you take them to the schools, are you training them on how to do it, like the PE teachers in the physical education department, or are you administering the training when you take them into schools? Like, how does it work?
So we've had several different successes. So one school district, they purchased, Urban Independent School District purchased, say, 100 pair of skates and 100 helmets for their PE department. And then their coaches took it and ran with it.
Okay.
And
so did you train the coaches?
Yeah.
I didn't.
So they just knew what to do?
Yeah. Well, I did the demonstration. I took it to the school. I did the demonstration. They have the videos to go online.
Oh, okay.
When it came to implementing the skates into their PE programs, they kind of came up with their own.
Yeah, based upon what they were doing. Yeah, okay, I got it.
And so that was a good thing. Then we had a couple incidents, a couple of successes where they bought the skates. We implemented the program. In Shreveport, we're probably about to do a program with the SPAR where we go into the SPARs and teach the coaches how to implement the program. And that way we can cover a lot more ground, a lot more quickly versus me doing it. And I like to do it. I don't mind doing it. I can do it, but it's just becoming a bigger project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. So talk about the book.
Yep.
Don't be a dumb job.
Yep. So the book, like I said, after I got hurt, I was an athlete. I was an intern for LSU football team. Okay. I was an intern in the Office of Recruiting. And I saw how the athletes were not taking advantage of the opportunities. They had tutors, they had trainers, the expert trainers, they had $60 million facilities, they had all this stuff. And the athletes, they didn't take advantage of it. And so as I was reading about how to become an elite athlete in my kinesiology courses, I was seeing how the athletes were acting like dumb jocks. Like they were providing you education, food, housing, clothing.
And you just not maximizing it.
Why not?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but as we started to do the more research, we saw that you have to start to teach these principles before 13.
I agree.
You have to start teaching self-confidence. You have to start teaching accountability, responsibility early. That way, when they get into these opportunities, they can see the opportunity. And now with the NIL agreements, I think that's awakening some people's minds as to the possibility of what it could be outside of just sports.
Right. And you touched on it earlier. Now you were talking about, being involved in not seeing the entire landscape of the industry. Right. Like when you're an athlete, sometimes people are just focusing on just that part of it. Right, in hopes of making it, and we want you to make it. We're preparing you to make it, right? But there's a likelihood that may not happen, or your career ends in life after sports. You always got to have something soft to, land.
It happened to you, happened to me,
it happens to everybody. Everybody's day is gonna come, right? You know what I mean? So like you said, taking advantage of the opportunity, I think, has to be told. I think a lot of these kids, they just don't think about it. They don't realize what they have access to. And we bump our head against the wall every day, even in our facility that's not multi-million dollars, because we're like, dude, like you have access to a facility. You can come when you want. You got recovery, you got shooting machines, you name it. We have it for you to be able to get from here to there, but y'all aren't beating the door down.
Right.
Y'all aren't asking questions. You're just coming when we tell you to come, and even that's a struggle. So how do we train them to go into a situation and maximize everything that's in that place?
Mm-hmm.
Every painting on the wall, every pin on the table, like go in there and get the most and not just settle for the less. And the less is sometimes just playing.
Yep.
Right. How do we develop that? How do we get them to see that and the significance of that?
Yeah. Like I said, I think we had to start it early. And that's why I wrote the book, because once they get like ninth grade, it's really, that's really, like I said, the brain changes, the motivation changes. And again, if they hadn't taken advantage of other opportunities, then you present them with $1 million opportunity. It's just it's nonchalant. It's like, hey, I'll get that next time.
Yeah,
we'll do that next time. And so like I say, I wanted to write the book. I wrote the book in 2017 because of the Colin Kaepernick situation. And I didn't feel like the athletes represented championship mentality in that scenario. And so it drove me. I was motivated by one of my clients. She was actually she was about 70. I think she was 75 years old. And she mentioned how as Black athletes, that a lot of people only look at us as entertainers or helpers.
Yeah.
And I never looked at myself as a entertainer or helper when I was playing. I just loved to play sports. I played for free. But on that level, at the NFL pro level, you have a larger responsibility to your society. And if you don't, like you said, they didn't take advantage of that, then when you get up here making millions, you have all this influence, you're like, man, I'm just regular too.
Yeah, you're not going to take advantage of it then.
And that is irresponsible. Right. And I was disheartened because of that. And like I said, when my white 75-year-old female client said that, it started firing me, and I just started writing about my experiences and how I saw, the Confederate flags at LSU outside the game, but it's 20 athletes on the field, Black athletes,
strapping up, ready to go. Yeah,
bumping their head.
Yeah, man. That whole situation, like, honestly, made me not support the NFL anymore. Like, I'm just gonna keep it 100 with you. Oh, did you watch? I don't like. I don't like seeing how they didn't maximize that opportunity, and how I felt like they just let that slide through the crack because of, I got to protect my job. I got to protect my. But it's like, at the end of the day, without you, there's no them. Like, if you keep showing up and you acting like it doesn't bother you,
right,
they're going to keep on trucking along. They ain't going to change. They're going to keep doing what they're doing.
Yep.
Like, if we feel like we need them, they're going to treat us like the help.
Exactly.
Like, you're just a high-paid helper.
That's how they look at it. And
right, versus taking control of it.
And we talking about, and you wouldn't believe how much federal funding is spent on youth sports. You wouldn't believe how much money is made in college sports. College sports is now $100 million a year episode. 12 games.
Yeah.
All Black athletes. And the Black athletes are the only ones not getting paid. This is the history of it, but that's what motivated me to write the book. That's not what the book is about. It's more about the championship attitude and how we take what we learn in sports, the teamwork. Coach Williams, he used to tell us, man, you got to obligate to yourself, to your family, and to your community. And we didn't, so don't embarrass us, don't embarrass yourself, don't embarrass your mama, and don't, you know what I'm saying? Make sure so that's kind of what the book is about. And I'm excited to promote it and just keep pushing it along.
That's beautiful, man. Aaron, man, well, I'm ecstatic for you, proud of you, man, and just to see your evolution and growth and consistency over the years has been inspiring, bro. So keep doing what you're doing. We're going to keep rocking and rolling. But before we leave, man, just wanted to ask, how does the Kingdom community impact you in your life?
Man, just like you just mentioned, you guys have been totally inspiring as well. And I saw you guys at Landmark, and I'm an entrepreneur, so I could see development. that's what I see in my kids. So when I saw y'all, black men, because the team cohesion of the black male is not there.
Mm-hmm.
We like this. So when I saw you two getting together and y'all could work it out, at first I was like, I'm gonna see how long this is gonna last. And then, you know what I'm saying? We're talking 10 years later, y'all been on it. So, and I've been following you, what I'm doing is not exactly what y'all are doing, but we always can work together.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always looked at the opportunities, but I had some other things that were developing, so I couldn't just be here and do that. I had to put some other pieces in place, but now I'm more settled. I'm more sure about what I'm doing here in Texas and Louisiana. So we're going to be able to do some things coming soon, I'm pretty sure.
Man, that's awesome. Man. I look forward to it, brother.
Yeah.
Much love to you, baby.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you.
You too.
As always.